Hey guys, welcome back. According to the National Association of Realtors, we are 6 million houses short in the United States. People are absolutely needing places to buy. There's not enough available inventory, so that just shows you we have to build more spec homes. In this video, me and Dan Haberkos, he is an absolute expert in building spec homes, are going to teach you how to finance a spec home. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode with me and Dan. First, we're gonna be talking about how to get lines of credit, how to find the hard money, and how to find the best ways to finance your spec home deals. Hey, Dan, thanks for jumping on.
Hey, Brent, thanks for having me. Excited to talk through the financing of spec houses.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like, if people have cash, they're probably not searching for this video. That's one way to do it, but there's other ways to do this with little to no money. I know when you got started out, you probably had $150 million in your bank account. Same with me. I had like 400 million and I didn't need to search for video. No, I'm just kidding. We had to figure out ways to beg, borrow, and steal and partner with people sometimes that had the money. I'm excited to jump into this, like how to finance a spec home when the country needs this. Like, wholesaling is done, flipping houses, you might as well just go out and get another job or something. But building spec homes is the best way to build freedom for you and your family. And I know you've done a heck of a job. You're purchasing rental properties left and right. You're always on vacation. I can never get a hold of you. No. Let's get into it.
Absolutely, Brent. So there's three main things we're going to hit on: construction lenders, private money, and then lines of credit. So we'll start with construction lenders. So there's a couple different ways to go about this. We were chatting earlier about before the pandemic, I would go to a commercial bank, and it doesn't have to be you. You can always partner with somebody who has the credit and has the background and experience in order to get these loans if you cannot. And at a commercial bank like ABC or Pikes Peak, who we both use, you can get 4.5%, 5% loans for new builds. And this is a great option, right? If you don't have a lot of money, pre-sold homes, a lot of banks will actually finance 100% of the construction costs. You just have to buy the land.
Genius.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, right now, pre-solds are a little bit more risky with the commodity prices fluctuating. But even if you don't go that route, go talk to your local bank, talk to the commercial lender and see what sort of products they have available, because these tend to be very low interest, very favorable terms, and pretty insignificant origination costs. So that's one option. And then you can also find construction lenders that are more on the hard money side. They'll get you the loan basically overnight. Their process will be much easier, but they're going to charge, 3 or 4 points, most likely, maybe 2 to 4, and a higher rate of interest, maybe 8 to 10%, have slightly less favorable terms, but they can get it done as well if you need the financing quickly. And if there's enough of the spread in the build, that can be a way to go too. So under the umbrella of construction lenders, you have hard money, and then you have your traditional commercial banks. And both of those can be excellent options for getting new construction financed for a spec house or a pre-sale.
Let's say I'm going to that hard money lender, and then we'll get into how to find these pre-construction lenders and the commercial lenders and the hard money lenders. But what do I need? Do I need to wear a suit, have a credibility package? Do I need to show them 150 years of experience? Like, how do I set myself up for success?
Yeah, great question. So if you have no experience at all, maybe all you have is a strong credit score, you may want to go the route of partnering with somebody who has a little bit more experience and financial backing, or maybe it's even your general contractor, right? If you have a GC who's built house after house after house, you got the strong credit, you could go bring them into the bank with you and talk through your plan and process. But yes, Brent, I would show up looking presentable. Even if you don't have a lot of experience, bring them all of the materials that they're going to be looking for. And what would that be? Well, they're going to want to see, well, what does the cost breakdown look like? And what sort of profit margin is there? What sort of time frame? What do the plans look like? Who's your end buyer? And how are you going to market to them in order to sell the home to them? All those things make you look like you know what you're doing, like you have a plan, and will give a lender, whether it be your commercial bank or a hard money lender, more confidence to lend to you.
Do I need to print this out professionally? Do I need to have it on like a quick thumb drive or a CD-ROM? Or like, how do I set myself apart from every Joe Schmo walking in there asking for a loan?
Yeah, either or, but I personally would prefer to have it on, your computer and be able to just pull it up in a simple, whether it's on Google Drive or wherever it is. But if you bring in printed plans along with breakdowns, that works too. I think what they want to know is that, between you and the contractor or your partner, you have the experience, you know what you're doing, your numbers match up with what they're seeing with their other builders who they're financing. And the credit score obviously helps too, along with some money in the bank.
And you already mentioned the partner. I think so many people are afraid to kind of partner up. I actually went to that real estate meetup I was telling you about last
Yeah.
night. A retired builder there from New York City.
Hmm.
And this guy had been building since he was like 18 years old.
Wow.
That man could be that partner on the first couple. He gave me his card. I told him I was building 3 houses in Florida. And he's like, definitely. He already gave me a surveyor because I was about to pay like 3 times too much for a survey. That knowledge, that expertise, that advice that you can find from people like you're Rich, basically.
Yeah.
His name was Rich, and you and I both know him.
Yeah.
Guys like that have a lot of connections, and we can once again compress those time frames of their 50 years of building into our first project.
Yeah, absolutely. With anything you're trying to learn, go find the expert, not just in that niche, but also in your market who can help you. That'll dramatically accelerate the learning curve and reduce the amount of mistakes that you have to go and make in order to learn. Yeah, so that's number one as far as construction lenders. And so number two would be private money. So you just mentioned Rich, and this was a great intro to this point. Rich was my first private lender. He and I did a number of builds together. He was really my mentor and who taught me how to build houses years ago. And he'd been doing it for 40 years. So you don't necessarily have to have all the money if you can find someone else who's able to buy the land and go to the bank and get the loan, or maybe they have their own cash, right? So this could play into number one, construction lenders. You might have a person that partners with you who has solid cash, credit, and experience. They go get the construction loan, and then you guys partner, split the profit up however you find to be appropriate, and go that route. So private lenders, number two.
Well, I have a question. What made Rich want to partner with you? What value did you have to bring to the table? What showed that guy that you meant business and that you were going to be a amazing partner for him? But before you answer that, guys, if you know someone that could benefit from this video, please share it over to them. Friend, family member, brother, father-in-law, you name it, uncle, sister, cousin, mother. And also smash that subscribe button. Give us some love here. Go ahead, Dan. How did you bring value to Rich?
Yeah, I met him at the local real estate club here in Colorado Springs shortly after moving here, and he needed help with some of the administrative stuff in his business. I went down, helped him with that, and we didn't actually end up partnering on anything for close to a year. And so he had already seen me put in the effort to drive an hour south of Colorado Springs, meet him over the weekends, help him in his business, and learn from him. Very quickly, it was clear that he knew everything that I wanted to know. So no issue on my end doing that. So at that point, when we started working together, I had developed a pretty significant level of trust with him. So these things take time. I wouldn't just show up and ask someone for money on the first date, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just hearing someone explain that. The longer you go without asking, the ask can be bigger later on.
Yeah.
You don't just meet a lady or a guy and immediately you end up married. No, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
You're gonna meet again and maybe go on another date and maybe kiss or something like that. You put in the time every single weekend for a year straight. And I remember Rich he wanted to write a book and had all these things, these ideas, and you put in that time, which has paid off tremendously for you.
Yeah, this is a relationship business. That is a cliche for a reason, and that's because it's true, right? When you develop relationships with people of the long term, it is amazing what can come from that. I get mail much cheaper than most people, handwritten letters, because I have a friend who has a company that does that. And so just across the board, this is a relationship business. Don't make it transactional. Look at the long term, and that's true with finding private money lenders as well.
I love it. I love it. Hard money?
We hit on hard money, line of credit.
Okay.
So this one can work too. Maybe you have a paid off house or a bunch of equity in one of your houses from this crazy appreciation we've seen these last couple of years. Go talk to the commercial banks and see if you can get a line of credit. And especially if you're in markets like we are, where you're building an entry level product, your basis is in the 200s. It's very, very feasible to get a line of credit against one of your properties, maybe even your primary residence, and just finance the build that way. Benefits of line of credit, you're only paying interest on the money you draw. So until you draw the funds, you pay no interest on anything. Rates are really low right now, and you just have complete control over it. So lines of credit can be another good way to finance new construction. You know, I'm meeting with Pikes Peak later today. We're going to sit down and talk through this. So that is the last way we recommend financing them, because again, the more you can get your cost of capital down, the higher your margins and more your margin of safety. And so lines of credit can be a great way and a relatively easy way to accomplish this.
I love it. I love it. What's next? How do we, I mean, you already mentioned how to find the private money or the hard money lender at the real estate meetup. Are there any other places to go and find this?
Yeah, you know, like we were talking about earlier, referrals, right? Don't make this too hard. Find someone who is doing what you want to do and see who they're using, who they've had success with, who has good reviews, and who knows the niche that you want to be in. That's really the best way to go about it, in my opinion. From commercial lenders to private lenders to hard money lenders, get referrals, check their ratings online, talk through it with them, make sure they're competent and that you work well with them. That's important too. Obviously, everyone has their own unique personality differences. But yeah, finding referred people that are referred by people you trust.
All right. I love it. Dan, thank you so much for giving all this value. Guys, if you're interested in learning more about building freedom, financial freedom by building on your land, or maybe even buying land to build on, head on over to ibuildfreedom.com, schedule a call, and then also check out the podcast that me and Dan did on Wholesaling Inc. podcast, how he closed over 70 land transactions in 18 months if you want to find out more about Dan.